Hello everyone, welcome to the virtual Chef's Table experience here at the Roth Living Showroom in our studio in Denver. I'm Chef Alyssa, I am the chef for the Salt Lake City showroom, and I'm super excited to be here to show you guys a fun, simple summer menu using a whole bunch of different appliances. The goal of today, I want to showcase all of these wonderful appliances. We're going to be using the induction, we're going to be using our convection ovens, we're going to be using our griddle, our burners, and our steam oven. So you guys will get to see a little bit of everything and hopefully give you a good, fun idea. Before summer's over, you should try this meal. So let's go ahead and jump in. We're kind of going to go in the order that the food needs us to go in. So we're going to start with our croutons. Let me tell you what we're making first. We're making a seared side of salmon, and that's going to be paired with a Panzanella salad with seared corn and zucchini. So those of you out there who know what a Panzanella salad is, it's like the best salad. It's basically just crouton salad, a salad made of bread. So first step is to make the croutons. So we've got beautiful bread all torn up here. I want to show you guys the loaf that was used. And often, of course, you can cut this into little cubes if you want, but I find it a lot more fun to eat if you tear the pieces. So you've got all these kind of irregular nooks and crannies and places for the olive oil to get into and to get extra crispy, and you have some bites that are a little softer and squishier and some that are extra crispy and crunchy. So that's how I like to do my Panzanella salad and just croutons in general. So we've got all of those here. Now this was a dish made, it's an Italian dish, and they're very smart with their foods. They don't like to throw food away. So this dish was originally created for stale bread. So that you don't throw away any of your bread, you use the old bread, turn it into croutons, turn it into a salad, it's great. Well, you can absolutely do that, but I do prefer, personally, the texture and flavor of the bread if it is a fresh loaf. They tend to be a little bit chewier and more pleasant to eat if they are roasted into croutons from a fresh loaf of bread. But if all you have is stale, please use that, okay? So, what I'm doing here, lots of olive oil, like a good heaping amount of olive oil. Do not be scared of the olive oil. This is important because this is how your croutons are going to stay soft and flavorful without getting way too dried out and overly hard. This is going to help them stay moist, tender, and yet crispy. So we've got olive oil, and then I am aggressively salting these babies because you also want to make sure these are seasoned really well. And then, of course, we're going to finish with some fresh cracked pepper. These are our salt and pepper croutons. I don't know why, but saying salt and pepper makes everything for some reason sound a little bit fancier. And I'm going with good couple grinds of that pepper because I really want that flavor to come through. Next step is using our best tools in the kitchen. So I'm actually going to take this bread and toss it and almost squish that olive oil into the bread. Yes, a technical term. We are squishing olive oil into the bread, making sure that they are fully saturated, and we don't have any dry pieces left out, because those pieces will be sad. We want every crouton to feel the love. These look gorgeous. And now I'm just spreading them out on the sheet pan. It's a full sheet pan, don't get me wrong, but it's not overlapping too much. We've really got a single layer here, and that's what you want to do with something like making croutons, okay? I'm actually going to rinse my hands real fast, and then we're going to get those into our oven. So the first appliance we are using is our wall oven. This could be actually any electric oven, whether you have the dual fuel or whether you have a wall oven. I'm using the convection mode. This mode I'm using even though I only have one tray, because this mode just tends to cook a little hotter and faster. It's going to help crisp up before we dry out the bread. So it's a perfect mode for making croutons or panzanella. We've already got this preheated. It's on convection at 400, so fairly hot because we have torn up this bread into smaller chunks. They're about an inch, maybe an inch and a half for some pieces. So you want to go pretty hot and fast. Otherwise, you'll dry them out before they get browned and toasty. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to place this in the oven. Any rack position here will work. You could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That convection mode is phenomenal for not just cooking a little bit hotter and faster, but also for doing multiple trays. So if you're making a very large crouton salad, then you could do 3 trays of bread at the same time, and you will never have to go back and rotate them. They'll all get that even heat from top to bottom. That is because our convection system works by using the 2 heating elements directly in front of those 2 fans, and as the fans blow, it pushes the heat out evenly from top to bottom, so you don't have any top or bottom heat discrepancy. So that's our convection mode. Those will take about 15 or so minutes. We'll come check on them, pull them out, let them cool a bit, and then they will be added to our salad. In the meantime, there's quite a few other pieces and parts to this salad. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to show you guys, this isn't using an appliance, but I'm showing you how we make the salad. We're going to do a quick sort of dressing / pickled shallots. So I've got some champagne vinegar there, and it's just nice white vinegar. You could use, if you wanted, a white balsamic. You could use a white wine vinegar, whatever you have. Honestly, a red wine vinegar, sherry vinegar, anything is going to work really well here, just depending what flavor profile you want. And then I'm adding lemon juice. We're adding the juice of 1 lemon, slippery little buggers. We're going to add that right in, and that's going to be about a 1/4 cup or so to a 1/2 cup of lemon juice, depending how juicy your lemons are. We're then just going to add a little bit of honey, not enough to make this sweet. This is just going to help balance out the acidity that we've got going on in there. And then, of course, another nice hefty pinch of salt. I'm going to give this a quick whisk, okay, just to dissolve the honey in there. And then we're going to add a drizzle of olive oil, not very much here. This is really just to help kind of get a light balancing of flavor here, but because our croutons had so much olive oil, I only need a splash of olive oil in the dressing, okay? So there we go. We are all combined, and now we just add some thinly sliced shallots right in. And these are going to start to lightly pickle, sort of pick up that vinegariness into the shallots, and the oniony flavor is also going to transfer into that vinegar, creating a beautiful little marriage of ingredients for this salad, okay? So that is going to be, I'm trying to show you guys, that's going to be our dressing. It's just going to sit now until the rest of the salad is ready to be put together. Back to appliances. So, speaking of the rest of the salad, this is quite a fun little panzanella salad. It's very summery, and this is extremely changeable depending on the season. We are right in the midst of summer, aka my favorite time of year, and so I really wanted to utilize the ingredients that are available and that are starting to grow out of our gardens. We can literally pick. They're the freshest. They have the most flavor, the most texture. So we've got corn and zucchini. I've done this salad with tomatoes and peaches. It's fabulous. You can do this in the fall with roasted squash and apples. You can really play around with whatever is in season, which makes it a very fun and exciting dish, I think. It's very interchangeable for whatever you might want. So we are using our induction now. And move this off so that we can focus here. I've got a cast iron skillet that's been preheating for about 10 minutes. I like to preheat my cast iron skillets on a medium-low temperature so that it allows the whole thing to start to heat up evenly. You don't want to blast a cast iron skillet with aggressive heat at the beginning. You want to allow it to slowly come up to temperature, and then you can raise the heat if needed when you're ready to cook. So we've got our cast iron, and yes, cast iron works on induction, which is awesome. Okay, you've got that really good heating source, a pan that is honestly might live longer than you and is so functional for so many things. What I'm doing here is sort of like a grilled corn without having to use a grill. We are giving it a super quick, aggressive heat so that it's going to start to get a little bit of a char without having to go outside, grill our corn cobs, then bring them inside, let them cool, cut them off the cob. We've cut all the corn off the cob already, and we're just going to get them a nice sear in this very hot cast iron. It will take, honestly, 1 or 2 minutes. So I've got this turned up to high now, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a touch of olive oil, just sort of enough to help coat the bottom, and then the corn's going right in. That sizzling sound, one of the best sounds in the cooking world, I swear. So here we go. And what I've done, it's an even layer. If you've got a lot of corn, if you're doing a really large amount, then I would recommend doing this in batches so that you don't steam the corn. We're really going for a more smoky, a more caramelized sort of situation here. And by not overcrowding the pan, you'll end up with a better searing. Now, this is exciting. Not only is it very sizzly, it's sort of like popcorn, so it can get a little bit stressful, but you will literally start to see the corn dancing. You've probably seen a couple corn little kernels are gonna pop out, and that's good. That's not a bad thing, okay? That means we're doing this right. That means we had the pan as hot as it needed to be, okay? I'm actually now, we only need about 30 more seconds of cooking. I'm gonna add a little knob of butter, just because butter and corn, let's be honest, best friends, okay? So, we've got a beautiful, steamy, smoky situation here. Gorgeous. A pinch of salt. I don't know if you guys can see me through that steam and smoke. I look super exciting here. And now I can turn this off, okay? And I'm actually gonna move my induction off the heat because this corn is done and looks gorgeous. That's how fast it is, okay? I wanna see if you guys can see those little browned pieces of corn. They're still crunchy and they have texture. We don't wanna go mushy, we don't wanna be overcooked, but they've got beautiful flavor and it smells really good in here already, okay? So that's our corn, as simple as that. We're gonna actually wanna go ahead and pull that corn out of the pan as soon as you've got it to the cooking point that you want, because it will continue to cook. If you leave food in a hot cast iron, guess what? That cast iron is gonna stay hot for a long time, like 30 minutes. So if we left the corn in the pan, it's just gonna keep on cooking and we're gonna end up with mush. And I don't like mush. I like texture and crunch, especially when we have beautiful fresh corn that is in season. So I'm just scooping that out here. And now we've got our corn ready to go, our croutons in the oven, and our shallots lightly pickling with our dressing. So we are now actually gonna move over to a different area where I can show you different appliances. So we're gonna head right over here, and I'm gonna talk about our griddle and our burners here, okay? We're then gonna talk about our steam oven. So what we're doing here is a couple different things. I'm going to start with our salmon. Remember, we're doing a beautiful seared whole side of salmon here, which makes this a really, really good dish for entertaining. Anytime you can serve a really big piece of protein, honestly, it's already just a party. Like if you've got a big giant steak, if you've got a big pork shoulder, a whole side of salmon, we are just setting ourselves up for what feels like a really exciting event. Okay, it looks beautiful, it feels exciting, and it feels like a celebration. Summer is a time to celebrate just because it's an awesome time of year. So that's what we're doing here. So what we're gonna do, I'm actually going to sear this salmon. Sorry, I've got a lot of stuff. I'm gonna move things around here. I'm gonna sear this salmon on our griddle. For those of you out there who are lucky enough to have this griddle, it is fantastic. It is, I know I shouldn't have favorites, but one of my favorite appliances to use. And that's because I can do a whole side of salmon seared on the griddle, getting you beautiful crispy skin and perfectly cooked through. Normally, you can't fit this on any pan, no pan I know of, so you would have to cut this into portions, seared in your pan, it'll be delicious, but it doesn't give you that presentation, that wow factor that I really want to go for here, okay? So, first thing I'm gonna do is, we've actually got our griddle preheated. As you know, there's certain things that you need to preheat to get the best end product. We preheated our oven because I wanted to blast those little pieces of bread with as much heat as I could early on. That's gonna help them crisp without drying out. We need to preheat our griddle here because this is gonna help us get that beautiful sear on the salmon before it overcooks. It's also gonna help us from allowing the salmon to stick to the surface. So let me talk about this griddle for a second before I start cooking with it. This is a beautiful flat surface. You can get it as a single griddle, for those out there with a single griddle, or a double griddle. That's just two griddles next to each other with no space in between. It's one giant beautiful surface. However, it is dual temperature zone. So you can have this side up to 450 degrees, all the way hot. While at the same time, you could have this one at 150 degrees, just in case you wanted to keep something warm. Or you could turn them both up to 450 degrees and have all that extra workspace. This is made of cold rolled steel, so it is, I'm gonna say, similar to cast iron in the way that it actually holds heat beautifully and it cooks super evenly. It is edge to edge even heat. I don't have hot spots and cold spots on here that I have to find and worry about and work around. It is everywhere perfectly evenly heated. The other reason it's like cast iron is you actually season it. And over time, it's actually gonna get better and better. You don't really need to clean your griddle. You can allow it to build up this beautiful patinaed surface. As you can see, it sort of gets darker and darker and a little bit better the more you use it. So, what I'm gonna do here, this is where things get a little exciting here. Pause. Malfunction. Did I do that? I knocked my mic off, everyone. We're back. We're back and ready to go. Thank you. Good thing we have such a good team here. So hopefully you all heard everything I just said. If not, you can always ask questions. Let me know. All right, so we're good. Mic is back on. I can keep talking about our griddle and the cold rolled steel. Seasoning it over time gets better and better. It becomes almost a little more and more non-stick surface. So it's gonna become this surface that I don't have to worry about things sticking and constantly like working around. Things are gonna start to come off a little easier and you're gonna build up layers of flavor. So, perfect time for fish. This is where I'm gonna do something a little funny. I'm gonna season both sides here with a nice hefty, loving pinch of salt, okay? Salmon is a big piece of protein, this is, and it's quite fatty. Protein and fat both need a lot of salt to allow their flavor to really come through. So don't be scared of giving that a good amount of salt. Now, I'm actually gonna go in with my hands, again, my favorite cooking tools, flip it over, and you can see our wonderful sous chef, Gil, has already scored the salmon for me. That is gonna help keep the skin of the salmon flat on the griddle so that you get an even, beautiful crisping along the whole surface. You don't have that curling happening. You're gonna see beautiful, beautiful crisping everywhere. I gave that even a little extra salting and seasoning because that skin is the fattiest part. And what you want here, it's like the chicken skin, but make it fish skin. It sounds a little weird, but crispy, salty fish skin, whew, it's like a snack, okay? So now I'm going to delicately place this skin side down on our hot griddle, okay? And you'll notice really quickly, the salmon will sort of start to collapse a little and come together. That's good, that's what you want. That's why we scored the skin to help to allow that skin to stay flat instead of puckering up, okay? Let me, again, wash my hands one more time. I promise I'm not gonna knock the mic off again. And we're gonna continue on with our panzanella journey. So, the key to cooking fish at home, if you're trying to sear something, it can be a little intimidating, I know, because I don't want to say it's easy to mess up, but if you don't know what you're doing, then yeah, it's easy to mess up, most things in life. What you want to do is you want to start with a hot, preheated surface, like I said earlier. You want to then put enough fat onto your cooking surface to make sure that you're not going to get any stickage. And then, a very important key, don't touch it. Just don't touch it. You need to leave this alone. Number one, to allow that searing and that crisping, you want that skin to get crispy. And the more you move it around, the less it's able to build up that beautiful caramelization. Also, once that salmon is ready to be released from the surface of the griddle, it'll let you know. If it's sticking, it probably means it wants to still be cooking. It will let you know when it's ready to be flipped, to be moved. So we don't touch this. How easy is that? Preheat your griddle, put some oil on it, season your protein, throw it on, and don't touch it. We're gonna cook it 90% of the way with the skin side down. It's gonna give us the most crisping and flavor there, but it's also going to protect the top surface of the fish from overcooking, because we really wanna get this salmon to about a medium rare. Medium if you're a little nervous about the medium rare. But a beautiful piece of salmon like this, you don't want to overcook it. You don't want it to dry out. You want it to be buttery and delicious. So that's happening here. this is exciting because at the same time that I'm cooking salmon, I can actually be cooking our zucchini on the other side. So I wanted to show you guys a really fun way of doing zucchini. What we've got here, sorry, I'm going to pause, let me grab my olive oil. I promise I'm still here, and I'm checking on our crouton. Oh, just kidding, the croutons are already out because Gil is amazing. Thank you. But I'm grabbing some olive oil here because I do want to cook the zucchini with olive oil. This is a fun little way of showing you how we do zucchini. So I really enjoy doing zucchini cut lengthwise all the way down the center, so they look, with the stem on, so they look just like little zucchinis, but now we have this surface to really sear. You'll notice, I think you can see on the camera, the what do you call that, beating of the water. Can you see that on the camera? I don't know how clear it is, but that is a very important step that I do with zucchini. Okay, you'll see all that water has sort of come to the surface and has started to sweat. This is the trick. Zucchini can be awesome. Zucchini, my dad has a garden every year and it's my favorite time of year. He does all the work and I get all the vegetables, but he has so much zucchini. People get lazy at one point, you just start making zucchini bread, you just start making zucchini mush, I don't even know. But zucchini can be, because there's so much water in it, it can tend to be a little soggier and less flavorful. So this is my trick. Whether you cut it like I do here or whether you just cut it into little circles, little medallions, I like to score the surface and then salt it in advance. So I did this about 15, 20 minutes ago. That salt has now gotten into the zucchini and pushed all of the liquid out. So then, this is going to allow the concentration of flavor in the zucchini and extra browning, which is what we want. Brown food just tastes better. We all know that. So that's where flavor, and that's where caramelization happens. It's called the Maillard reaction, if you're interested, the browning of foods, that caramelization. And so we want to get rid of as much moisture as we can. And I'm now taking a paper towel, as you can see, and I'm just patting these zucchinis fully dry. That's going to give us such beautiful end products here. Now all I got to do, again, it's already seasoned, so I've got a hot griddle, and now we've got our olive oil right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drizzle the olive oil actually directly onto the zucchinis. I prefer to do this so the oil is exactly where I want it and we're not wasting any. And then I just take these and we flip them onto our griddle. Okay? Right there, the flesh side down. We're going to get a beautiful searing happening. Again, that sizzling sound, one of my favorite things in the kitchen. There we go. So now I'm going to let them just sear up, and we're going to check on these in about 5 or so minutes and see how the browning is doing. Since we're here, I want to just check on that salmon. It's looking absolutely gorgeous. We're going to give it another 5 minutes as well. So while those are just searing up, I want to explain one more exciting thing about our griddle. My other favorite part about it. Besides that it cooks so evenly, besides that it's this non-stick surface and you've got all this open space to cook, you're not confined by sides of a pan. If you'll remember earlier, I said you really don't have to clean it very much. All we do when we're done with this, we're going to scrape any excess bits or oils that are still on the surface, and then take a cloth and wipe down the surface to remove any excess oil. This is a really cool part about the cold rolled steel griddle versus a cast iron pan. For those out there who've used a cast iron pan, you probably are aware if you've ever cooked salmon or scallops or shrimp, some sort of fish in your cast iron for dinner, and the next morning you really want beautiful, crispy, lacy pancakes, and the best way to do that is in a cast iron skillet. Well, if you put your pancakes in that same cast iron that you cooked your salmon in, your pancakes are going to taste a little like fish. And I mean, not that that'd be bad depending on what you're going for, but maple syrup, fishy pancakes, not what you want. Cold rolled steel, unlike cast iron, does not give off odors and flavors. So what's going to happen is it's actually never going to cross over that flavor contamination. You're going to end up, once we're done here, if you wipe off all the excess salmon oil, you will not taste salmon in your pancakes tomorrow, guaranteed. Because steel actually, it takes flavors and takes odors off of surfaces, your hands for instance. If you ever have garlicky fingers, all you gotta do is rub it on stainless steel and it will pull those odors and flavors from whatever is touching it, aka your fingers, or our salmon here, and then you won't have that crossover contamination, which is amazing. So that's the last thing about our griddle that I just find phenomenal. Really, really, you can take advantage of using this as your go-to pan, as I do at home. At home, I have the double griddle, and it is my #1 used appliance. Truly #1 used appliance, because it's just less pans for me to get out and have to wash. And it's so even, and it's so easy to clean. So that is our griddle. Obviously, I'm obsessed with it. I want to check, after all this chatting, our zucchini. Look at that beautiful sear. That's what we're looking for. And yes, if your zucchini breaks, do not panic. We're going to cut them up anyways for our panzanella salad, okay? But look at those beauties. This one's broken too. Oh, you got a beautiful surface, beautiful browning. We're going to let those go for about 1 more minute, just because I do love lots of caramelization, lots of that building of flavor. And then we'll get ready to flip those over, okay? In the meantime, we are just about done with all of our panzanella salad ingredients. And when we're done, we can end up putting them all together. I'll show you how it ends up. But what we're going to serve our salmon with is a beautiful sauce. It's going to be very simple and very flavorful. We've got chev here, which is a soft goat cheese, okay? I'm going to add some cream. Going to help loosen that up. And then I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to, again, just give a little bit of a zing to this. It's goat cheese, chev, a little bit of cream, a little bit of lemon for that brightness and freshness. Let's see, are there seeds in there? Nope. Love a seedless lemon. Oh, just kidding. It's when you think they're seedless and they're not. We'll pull those out in a second. You want to go ahead and mix those in, and then we're going to add the other main flavor profile here, which is scallions. So scallions, another thing that's beautifully in season right now. Scallions stay in season for a fairly long time, all the way from spring through summer, and they're just really beautiful, big, and flavorful right now. So I'm just sort of using this rubber spatula to work the scallions into that goat cheese, and we're going to have this really flavorful, simple sauce, okay? Salt, of course, and yes, an aggressive pinch, and again, some more fresh cracked pepper. So you might notice I did not use any pepper on our salmon or on our zucchini, and that is because pepper it's a berry, and it's a little bit more of a sensitive spice. Yes, pepper is a berry, dried, turned into a spice. If you allow it to sit on the hot griddle for too long, the beautiful flavor and aroma of pepper will just really get lost. It can get burned, or it'll just disappear. That's done. So I like to add pepper at the end for certain items if you're cooking it at really high temperatures for a prolonged period of time. So now that we've got our goat cheese sauce made, we're going to flip our zucchinis. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's exactly what you want to see, okay? Beautiful, beautiful flavor and color. Let those cook for another minute or so on that one side. That's just to cook them through. We want these, again, with a little more texture. We don't want them soft and mushy. I don't like mushy things. We like texture in our food, okay? So now, I know this is ready. Looks beautiful. This is exciting. I'm literally getting in my power stance here because this is where things get a little exciting. A very large salmon can be a little bit tricky to flip. So I'm just going through making sure the skin is loose. Look at that. Sliding around, perfectly done. And I use 2 spatulas. This is a little party trick. And we're gonna see if we can flip this salmon. I'm gonna try one. In one fail motion. Oh, we got it. Look at that. Finish cooking about 1-2 minutes on this side, and then it's gonna be done and ready to serve, okay? So we've got those going, and we're about ready to finish putting our entire thing together, but we would be remiss here if we threw ourselves a big, fun summer party and didn't have dessert. So I'm gonna show you how to make a delicious and beautiful dessert in advance. we've got already made, but I'm going to explain exactly how I did this, some Podo Crumbs. So I don't know if anyone out there knows what a Podo crumb is, but it is a creme brulee without the brulee. So it's cooked cream, it's a cooked custard. And it can be a little bit intimidating because custards can be more on the delicate side and easy to mess up when you're cooking them in the oven. They want to crack, they want to seize, they want to just kind of bubble up and get a little funky and wonky. That's why you have to cook them in a water bath. However, a lot of people don't want to cook in a water bath because it's hard, it's annoying, and it's still easy to mess up. What if you put your creme brulees in and then you're trying to carry the tray of water to the oven and the water spills into your custard before it bakes? Then you've ruined your custard. This is where our wonderful steam oven comes into play. So, I'm going to show you guys exactly how we cooked these Podo Crumbs. Before I do, we've got to get this salmon off of the griddle because it is ready. So I've got my serving dish ready to go. And then this is where you want to be really delicate. And again, it's not sticking because, oh, we lost a little piece. No big deal. Beautifully cooked. And get that right in there. You've got this gorgeous piece of salmon. Perfect for serving. And it just looks like a party already. You haven't even done anything else to it. So I'm going to now set this over here. And we're going to pull my zucchini off as well. Okay? So these coming off. The griddle has done wonderful work here. And we're going to allow the zucchini to cool for just a few minutes. And then, if you want to continue that theme of tearing your food, we're going to tear the zucchini into beautiful little chunks that are going to be about the same size as our croutons we made. Okay? You can cut them as well if you want, but you want these to cool just for 5 or so minutes because zucchini is mostly water, so that's just boiling water inside of there. You will burn your hands off. Then, just to show you guys how we clean our griddle, metal edge bench scraper. I've got a little bit of stuck on caramelized zucchini and a little bit of that salmon flesh, but it comes right off. When you do this, while your griddle is still nice and hot, it's going to go ahead and pull any extra food particles or stuck on bits right off. You really want to do this when it's warm, or else things will start to stick. But that is basically the whole cleaning process done. We'll wait till this cools a bit and wipe off the excess oil. Now that the sizzling and searing is all done, I can concentrate on our dessert. Okay? So, Podo Crumbs. And you can see there's 2 different kinds here, but that's just because we're going to show you how we finish these off. We're going to play pretend here. Now, we did have to make these in advance because Podo creme, like creme brulee or any sort of cooked custard, generally needs to sit and chill in the refrigerator for a few hours to set up. You can't really eat it straight out of the oven because it's still quite soft and almost liquidy. Okay, the fridge is where you kind of settle everything together and it comes together to a beautiful cooked form, solid form. So what we do, if you have ever done this before, then you know what I'm going to talk about. We're going to make a custard. We're going to heat up milk, cream, and this is a vanilla bean custard, so also some pods of vanilla that we've scraped the beans out of, added them to that milk and cream, and also added the pods, the vanilla pods themselves. And we've allowed that to heat up, come to a gentle simmer, just to a simmer, and then turn it off and allow it to steep, aka allow that vanilla flavor to really infuse into the milk and cream. Set it aside for 10-15 minutes to steep. In the meantime, we're going to take a bunch of egg yolks, because this is a rich custard, and we're going to whisk those egg yolks with sugar. Whisk, 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 and some salt, because salt in everything. Whisk, whisk, whisk until that egg yolk sugar mixture becomes really light and fluffy. It literally changes color. It becomes light, pale yellow, and becomes like fluffy. It's beautiful. Once we've done that, we're going to temper our egg yolk sugar mixture. See how I'm like playing pretend here? We'll take our warm milk mixture and slowly pouring it into the bowl of egg yolks. We're going to whisk the whole time. Just adding a little bit of that warm milk mixture to the egg yolks, whisking so that you don't end up scrambling those egg yolks. Once you've made that mixture, you're going to go ahead and you are going to pour it into these ramekins, whatever ramekins or dishes you might have, and then we go to our steam oven. Okay, so let's pretend, we'll take these 2. because obviously these two look like they haven't even been cooked yet. In your steam oven, go ahead and place your ramekins, however many you may have. No water bath necessary, which is one of the beautiful things about the steam oven. The steam oven, a glorious appliance. Many, many capabilities and functions. This, like we said earlier, is the chef's table, where I'm just showcasing a few of the wonderful things these appliances can do. There is a full class on the steam oven, which I highly recommend because there are so many different modes and so much to know about the steam oven. It takes a full class just for that, okay? So here, we're gonna use the steam mode. There are multiple modes, like I said earlier, but we're steaming. We are basically creating a water bath without a water bath. Those go right in. We're gonna go to steam, and then we are going to adjust our temperature down to 190 degrees. That is the perfect temperature for cooking custards. You'll hit enter there, and then timer. This can vary depending on how long you allowed your milk and cream to sit. If the mixture cooled down quite a bit, then it's gonna take a little longer in your steam oven. If you have really deep ramekins, thicker than this, it's gonna take longer. If you have really shallow ones, like the creme brulee ones, it's gonna go quite a bit faster. So you want to adjust accordingly to your own dish that you're cooking your custard in. This should have taken about between 20 and 30 minutes. So set your timer for the minimum amount of time you think it'll take, test them, and then you can always add time. But you can never go back in time, so you don't want to overcook the custards. From there, your steam oven's just gonna start, and it's going to cook your custards gently, carefully, giving you, should we pretend like it's been 20 minutes and they're all done? Yes. What it's going to give you is this beautiful, smooth, gorgeous, creamy looking surface that doesn't have any bubbles, it doesn't look overcooked, and it's set. That is what our steam oven is able to do. Again, we put these in the fridge for a few hours just to set up, and you end up here, okay? I want to give you a little tip on knowing when custard is done, because I think this is one of those things that generally people overcook unless you've done it a lot and you understand. It's going to look, when they're done, they're going to look not done. You should be able to jiggle your tray, and the custard mixture should kind of wobble. It shouldn't be set. If it's set when you wobble your tray in the oven, you've overcooked it. It should be jiggly, but it shouldn't be like wobbling. That's the key to where you want your custard to be when it's cooked, okay? Now it's set, and I'm gonna show you how we finish this off. What we are doing is using another really unique and cool appliance, and that is our burners, which sounds like just whatever, it's not that cool. Well, every single Wolf burner has the ability to go down to a very, very low temperature. You can have them at a high with these burners, and you can turn them down to a low. If you push on your knob and keep turning, a lower profile flame will come on. Literally, you've got your high profile and your low profile flame. So it's a little further away from the pan. From there, if you turn that to a low, that is a true simmer. Every single burner has this capability. Our smallest burners, you can actually melt chocolate directly in the pan. Now this just looks like chocolate chips. I'm gonna excite you here, okay? Looks like chocolate chips, and they are chocolate chips. But they are actually completely, perfectly melted because they've been sitting over that low burner for, well, honestly, they've been going for a long time. And that burner is so low, it can melt the chocolate beautifully directly in the pan, and it can hold that chocolate without scorching it, which chocolate is generally a very, very sensitive food product and doesn't like to go up to certain temperatures and doesn't like to go down to certain temperatures. This is the perfect temperature to melt chocolate, and it is a gift to you. You don't have to worry about trying to do the microwave thing. You don't have to worry about a double boiler ever again. You can use these burners, and it's amazing and life-changing. So we've got that chocolate, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to just glaze these Podo Crumbs very lightly with the chocolate. You don't want too thick of a layer because it can be a little hard to cut through with your spoon, but you're just gonna sort of wiggle it around and allow it to set up on that chilled custard. I then go in and finish it with some beautiful Marcona almonds, that little bit of crunch, and a little flaky salt, because salty, sweet, chocolatey, nutty, what we're getting is basically like a hot fudge sundae, but in set cooked custard form. So that is gonna be our dessert. I'm gonna set these back in the fridge just until we are ready to eat them. And now that we've gone through all of our appliances, I'm gonna show you how we finish this dish. So, I've got our beautifully pickled shallots. And I'm gonna try to turn these to you so you guys can see their color has changed. They're sort of light pink and a little bit more translucent. They're starting to pickle, okay? It's beautifully lightly pickled. And they've become, again, they've sort of combined with the vinegar and the lemon juice to create a beautiful new flavor profile. We're gonna put that right there. Now we're gonna go ahead and add, not our croutons yet, our corn. Let me grab the corn. Don't forget about this beautiful corn that we seared off earlier, okay? That's going right into our dressing, our shallots. We're now going to start adding that zucchini. So what you're gonna do, like I said, you should just go in and tear off a bunch of pieces of the zucchini, and you get some pieces that are really, really big and juicy and some that are smaller. It makes every bite of this salad extremely exciting, okay? So you're gonna go ahead and do that with all your zucchini. I'm not gonna make everyone watch me do that to every single piece of zucchini. Give that a stir, okay? We'll add the zucchini later. And then we have to add the main event, those gorgeous toasty croutons. Don't think we forgot about those. I wanna show you guys, these are just perfectly browned and crispy and still nice and chewy as well. It's literally the perfect crouton, okay? We're gonna add those right into our dressing. We'll do about that much. Give these a nice toss. And you want that bread to start soaking up the flavors of the dressing, all right? So we've got this beautiful mixture of colors and flavors, textures, pink and green and yellow and brown, tan, okay? And then to finish this off, we want a lot of herbs. So we've got fresh basil, parsley, mint, the herbs of the summer, and I just leave them whole. You want them to be a part of the salad. You don't want them to hide and disappear. You want to get these beautiful large pieces of fresh herbs. They add their own dimension and their own flavor, okay? So that is gonna be our beautiful panzanella salad. Now, again, let me move some things around. We're gonna grab that salmon. And if you were serving this, you wanna impress, you've got your guests, you're gonna take that salad and you're just gonna go ahead and scatter it all around that salmon. So you've got one gorgeous dish for serving. I'll just do it right along that side there. And now this is the platter that you bring out to all of your guests. Finish with some flaky salt. And then you can serve the sauce on the side so that everyone can kind of add their own if they like or if they don't. That's gonna be our chef's table for today, our summer meal extravaganza. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, please go ahead and leave them in the comments.